Hey guys, I'm going to show you today how Josh and I make homemade bone broth in a crock pot. We know that there are a lot of different opinions out there on how to make bone broth. There's a lot of different recipes, and after we've done a little research, we also know that there's some controversy around the ingredients that get used in bone broth and how to cook it, what methods. I'm not going to get into any of those details today. I'm simply going to show you how we make bone broth in our crock pot, how often, and why we do it. So first and foremost, just so you guys can see here, this is not a weekly process for us. We typically make bone broth at home because we try not to waste in our household, and whenever this baggie gets filled with chicken bones, we use it for our bone broth. We are always using pasture-raised and organic chicken. We don't want to waste the bones when we know that there is a very tasty and healthy thing that can come from them. So this is about a month's worth of bones in one bag for 2 people, and this is what we're going to use to make this bone broth today. I typically like to use fresh herbs from my garden, but right now the garden is not flourishing, so I have some herbs left over from a taco night the other night, and that's what I'm going to use. There is no rhyme or reason, in my opinion, on what you put into your bone broth. At the end of the day, every single time I've made it, it has always tasted different, but I just use what I have on hand. All right, so today I have green onions, some cilantro. No matter what, I'm always putting in an onion and garlic. I've got like 3 cloves here that I'm gonna throw in. And then this was random. I bought fennel and I'm gonna throw this in there today. This is the first time I'm gonna be putting fennel in. One of the controversies on the internet is that people say that apple cider vinegar doesn't really do anything in terms of drawing out nutrients out of the bones. But regardless, we like apple cider vinegar, so I'm gonna put it in there anyway. All right, let's get started. First things first is you pour the bones in, and just make sure you don't have any bones spilling out over the sides, because what you really want to make sure is that you have water covering over the top. Next, we're going to take filtered water, pour it all in. Next is apple cider vinegar, and I personally like to overdo this according to the internet, so I'm actually putting in 1/4 of a cup. The general recommendation online is about 2 tablespoons to every 12 cups of water. But I've probably got about 30 cups of water right now. I'm gonna add the cilantro, literally just add it in there. Adding all the green onions. What I love about this process is that it's super simple, it's easy, it doesn't take much work, you don't have to watch it, and you have a really great, delicious, hot beverage alternative in the morning. I think I overdid it a little. It's a little full. Got 4 garlic cloves. Got my onion. All right, this crock pot is packed. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put it on high for 6 hours. Stay tuned for when it's ready. We're gonna have Josh do a taste test for us.
All right guys, so Jen left it on for 8 hours. I'm gonna show you guys how to strain the bone broth. So to make it a little bit easier, we put it in the sink. We have 2 ladles that have access to take the soup out. So grab a big chunk of it, and then we're gonna put it over here, get all that good stuff out. So then we just have the broth. All them bones. All right, after we got all the big bones out and a lot of the big vegetables, now we take a mesh strainer. Again, we're still in the sink to make it a little bit less messy. So we're gonna pour it in there. Whoops. Pretty good. All right, next, put it in a measuring cup, has a little spigot, and we like to store them in glass mason jars. For us, even these small ones, it makes like a perfect to-go cup. We usually can finish this batch in about 3 to 4 days, but if not, you guys can always put it in a Ziploc baggie in the freezer and then it'll last much longer. All right, guys, this is the moment of truth. Taste test. So fresh bone broth. Delicious. We like to add a little bit more salt, but we usually do that after. That depends on your preference of salt. All right, guys, if you guys like this video, give this a like. Also, if you guys try this bone broth recipe out, be sure to tag us on Instagram, on all social media platforms, on Conversion Fit.